How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rahul Rowlett, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, we got ourselves some rumors over on 4chan, as well as some official news and stuff. So, sit back, relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get started. First things first is this 4chan post, which was posted over, well, on 4chan. Where else would it be, if not there? But basically, this post says some interesting stuff, and I thought it would be fun to actually cover it. First of all, it includes an image from Shutterstock of France being kind of divided in two. Like, literally, that is the map of France, like the whole of the French country being split in two, which is a bit random. I don't know the purpose of it, but it's besides the point. Then he says the following, or they say the following here, which is Legends Z-A Anonymous, right? This is posted on the 11th, so it's been a few days, about a week since this was last posted, or this was first posted. And it says the following: themes of togetherness and diversity / opposition. So he's talking about what the theme the game's going to be going over, like what kind of themes they're going to be using within the game, which, honestly, togetherness is kind of a standard thing for Pokemon. I mean, tell me a Pokemon game that isn't about togetherness, but sure, you know. Diversity, opposition, fair enough. Next one. Takes place years before X and Y, about 100, 200 years ago. Wait. Years before? Okay, so he's talking about it taking place about 100, 200 years before the events of X and Y. Well, from, you know, like Generation 6, right? So that's what he's saying. So, honestly, again, there's this whole debate whether the game's going to be set in the past or the future. It's like the biggest debate right now in terms of this game. That plus if the game's going to be set in only Lumiose or all of Kalos. Like, those are like two of the biggest debates people are having about this actual game. And I think it's a little bit of a hard one, right? It's kind of hard to pinpoint anything because, honestly, it could be literally any way. Like, it could literally go in any particular way. But nonetheless, though, let's move on to the next part here, which is going to be, let's see. So the next thing it says is, let's see, each plaza quarter separates the part of the map, but still they are interlinked. Okay, so each plaza quarter separates part of the map, but they're still interlinked. So I guess it would be similar to how we kind of like, you know, explored in Legends Arceus, you know what I mean? Kind of a similar way, but not exactly. Like, you know, the city would be split into like, what, 5 sections, and then you would explore those one by one, unlocking them. So they are linked, but you can't just access one of them at some point, like, you know, until I guess you've completed some stuff in the first one. Either way, though, they say this is where you can catch and train each as each areas this is where you can catch and train as each other areas are undeveloped and have wild lands in them. Okay, that would be a bit interesting how they would even implement that into a city. Now, I've talked again about like the idea of like you know, how if they like actually were to include a sort of, how would you even refer to it as? Like, how would it be if they were actually to include some form of time travel in the game, or some form of underground world, right? Like some place we can go to that isn't part of the overworld city, which we could go to actually get ourselves Pokemon. So time travel would be like, oh, travel back in time before the city existed to catch Pokemon. The other option, underground, would make sense with the Paris catacombs, because again, Kalos, Lumiose City in particular, is based on Paris specifically, and Paris has massive tunnels underneath it. And Masuda, who works at Pokemon and has been working on multiple other Pokemon games since Gen 1, he actually based the Glittering Cave, I think, off of specifically the catacombs in France. Like, he actually said he did. Moving on, though. He says, complete each story plaza area causes development in that area, like the houses and modernizing, but can still train and catch there. Okay, so that would actually be pretty cool if, like, as we make progress in a zone, that it actually evolves that zone and it actually levels it up of sorts. Like, it prestiges it. That actually, I'm gonna be real, that would be really cool. Like, I think that'll be an interesting element to gameplay that would change things up and make it a little bit more intriguing. Honestly, I'm all on board for it. Like, I would actually love if they did something like that. Now, unfortunately, though, I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't feel like that's something Game Freak would want to do or even try. It just feels out of the realm of something that they would want to try even their hands on. So, again, I don't really know. But moving on. They say each area can be visited at any time, like Scarlet and Violet. Okay, but then he said up here, they're interlinked, but they're separate. Oh, right. So you can actually go to them at any given time. Okay, cool. Now, bosses of areas like Scarlet and Violet Star Leaders each have different view on how Lumiose should be run. So I guess each 5 of the sections will be separate, and everybody there will have a bit of a different opinion on how things should be handled, which sounds about right for like a Pokemon game. Sounds about like something that would make sense. Moving on. Large presence of underground catacombs like Paris helps express super evolution and 3,000 war ago lore. Wait, what? Year ago war lore. This person's like grammar is getting me. Okay, so he's trying to say that I guess super evolution, I guess it would be mega evolution is what he's talking about here. And then he's talking about large presence of underground catacombs, which is what I just said, right? I already told you about that they've already kind of used that in Pokemon X and Y, so that wouldn't be too crazy. So for the most part, doesn't sound too nuts, and I guess them using Megas to explain the whole, like, Kalos War or whatever, that whole thing that happened, again, also makes sense. It's not, like, too crazy to believe any of this. Like, it sounds like, again, in the realm of actual possibility. So, I guess, he says super evolutions, but I guess he means mega evolutions, have returned with new entries. Moving on, starter Pokemon, partners, really, ugh, I hate that word. Starter Pokemon have strong themes of French history, like Napoleon, but not sure about the types. That doesn't even say which ones they are, but okay. Game carries themes from X and Y sequel before scrapped but expanded. So he's talking about, because there actually was a Pokemon Z, not a Pokemon Legends Z, but a Pokemon Z game that was planned in the past. Like, there was actually a project named as such, and that project, unfortunately, did get canceled. Pokemon Z, what would you call it? I guess trademark? Like the old trademark. If we look that up, I think we can find it all the way from back, like, from a long time ago. So you guys can see, like, I keep seeing people mentioning how the trademark for X and Y, thinking it, gonna get a new game in DLC, whatever. And then here we had, like, XYZ trademark filed, like, and I think that was for the anime or the cards. But again, there used to be a whole thing about this. But either way, I digress. Z actually was trademarked. Like, Pokemon Z was an ID they had. They were gonna make it, but it was scrapped. Moving on, though. They say, starter Pokemon partners have French history, game carries some themes of XY sequel, but was scrapped. Very ambitious, has been on the mind of creators for years since Sword and Shield era, which that sounds very, very realistic based on, again, some of the stuff that I've been hearing, and based on, like, some stuff, that just kind of fits with, like, development time for them. Like, think about it. Legends Arceus started development before Sword and Shield came out. Like, it actually started development in 2018, right? That's when Legends Arceus started development. So you can only assume that since then, they probably had these ideas of stuff they want to do, but just, they have to develop one thing first, and then they move on to the next one. So I wouldn't be surprised if they genuinely have had this in their mind and wanted to create this for a very, very long time, but they never were able to actually get it done. And now they actually managed to finally go and be like, okay, time to create this game. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do I feel about this rumor? I doubt it's real. Again, there is so many of these that will pop up over time, and a lot of them will, of course, not be real, because it's rumors, okay? It's rumors, ladies and gentlemen. What am I supposed to say? But I would love to know you guys' thoughts and opinions on this. So, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's move on to the next thing, which is going to be some official news, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, so we have some interesting stuff. Cerebi update. The next Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Terra Raid Battle event has been announced. Focuses on Brute Bonnet for Scarlet and Iron Hands for Violet. Again, I hate that they do this. Why do they make these exclusive? Also, the logic doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't you want to do it the other way around? Brute Bonnet for Violet and Iron Hands for Scarlet? Like, it doesn't make any sense, but don't worry, you don't even need to get these if you don't want to. But of course, if you do want to do them, it's going to be from March 22nd until the 24th, so it's this upcoming weekend for raids. So if you guys want to do it, go and get them. They're going to be in that period of time. It's going to be, I think, 5-star raids. I'm not sure if they're 7 or 5-star raids. I don't think anybody's pointed that out yet. But yeah, no, they're 5-star raids. Okay, so they're 5-star raids. Go do them if you want to. Again, it's up to you if you want to. You don't want to. It's your choice. Next up, though, a really cool thing if you're playing Pokemon Unite on your phone or on your Switch, there is a code right now you guys can type in, which is entry VCS or WCS 2024. If you type in this code, you can get 500 of these like tokens in the game, which is pretty sick if you ask me. So definitely go get your hands on these if you don't know how to actually do this. Honestly, even I struggled to do it, but basically, if you go into the game, you have to go to like the calendar section, and there's like a little thing that asks you if you want to submit a code. And if you go in there, you should be able to do it. So again, just some official stuff I wanted to share real quick, because I've been playing a lot of Unite, so it's just fun to mention. But nonetheless, though, let's move on to something slightly more interesting, and I think you guys will enjoy more. So, this is a post that was made by Kelios. Now, some of you guys may know Kelios, some of you may not know who he is, but I'm going to explain really quickly who this person actually is. So, Kelios is a website runner. He runs a Pokemon site called PokeKalos, which, funny enough, is actually all about Kalos. Like, he loves Kalos. He's a big Kalos fan. But it's a massive website. It's actually, I think, the biggest French Pokemon website in existence. Like, it's the largest one that exists. And they also handle, like, merch of their own and stuff like that. So they're a pretty big website, okay? They have a lot of traffic from the French community. So Helios tweeted out something interesting, and it was in reference to this other post that was actually posted by himself, I think, which is from their PokeKalos account, saying, the Pokemon Company has filed a new trademark in Japan called Pokemon Works. As you guys already know, I already mentioned that this company is confirmed, okay? This company is confirmed now to be a game development subsidiary. It's a company that's going to handle game development and game support, right? So basically, a company that's going to be handling making games and helping out other studios with games. And this company is a brand new one. It's called Pokemon Works. It's going to be working together with ILCA, okay? It's confirmed. Even here, like they literally point out, it should be noted that this is a new division, which is located in the same building as ILCA in the Shinjuku district of Tokyo. So yes, they're actually going to be working together, which is... oh my lord, it's kind of crazy, okay? So I already talked about this in several other videos, and I would highly recommend checking those out if you want, again, more context on this. But basically what he tweeted out, though, is the most interesting part, saying, by the way, I remain convinced that the Gen 5 remake is in progress and that they're working on it. Here's the thing. And then people are, of course, asking him, like, is it ILCA? And then people say, of course, yeah, it is ILCA. And here's the crazy part. I want to say something very interesting about this, okay? Specifically about this, like, potential of ILCA being working with them and all that kind of stuff. So, first of all, there's a lot of people that are saying this. Helios is one person who's had info in the past, okay? Of course, not everything he says comes true, but again, he's had inside information before, and he's shared inside information before. He's been correct, he's been incorrect, but the fact that he's saying this, Pioro, a legitimate leaker who I've mentioned in the past, Pioro is a actual legitimate leaker, and even he said that he's heard about a Gen 5 remake all the way from last year. He already heard about it, but that doesn't even end there, okay? It doesn't even end there. You have Pioro, you have Helios saying it, you have people like Soul Silver, who's a leak analyst, a friend of mine. Even he's been hearing that that's the case. Riddler Koo seems to be pointing towards Gen 5 remakes, which, of course, if you don't know Riddler Koo, he's a legitimate leaker that's been wrong a few times recently, but overall has been correct. So there's a lot of people, and people that I have talked to, which know some information, that have known information before, that said, basically, yeah, Gen 5 remakes are still on the table, and they're still happening, which is still weird to me, but it makes sense. Listen to this, okay? The actual trademark for Pokemon Works, right, this new company, like, it's a real thing, okay? It's a real new company. Like, it actually exists. It's not like this is not like a made-up bullshit. And it's confirmed, by the way. We can look up Synchro here, Synchro Leaks, because Synchro made a whole post about this, which I think is worthwhile to take a look at. But he made a whole post talking about how, like, you know, like, this company, it's, like, not a small thing. They've actually confirmed that this company is going to be, like, helping them out. So here is the actual update. And they said, let me see, actually, it's kind of messed up thingy, but here we go. So update, our speculation has been confirmed. The full list of directors of Pokemon Works has been revealed. And then, of course, he included the full list of all the different, like, directors and stuff, and who's involved here, and all that sort of stuff. And it's kind of interesting, right? It's a full list of directors of Pokemon Works, and it's one of them is Takayu Iwasaki, which is the representative director of ILCA, right? So it's literally the director of ILCA is going to be working there. Takanori Sowa, director of the Pokemon Company, is going to be there. Masao Iuchi is going to be the supervisor of the local subsidiary Pokemon Shanghai Toys Co. Limited, whatever. And the company's main business, as mentioned, literally what they say, is a contracted development of games related to Pokemon. Literally contracted work to make Pokemon-related games. What would that make sense to? A remake games. ILCA already has experience. They already made one. It sold pretty well. This confirms a joint venture between ILCA and the Pokemon Company, similar to how ILCA has a extra studio called Bandai Namco Aces, which is for specifically a game called Ace Combat, right? So the Ace Combat series. They already have that, and they already, like, registered TPC this month, so we should be getting an announcement sometime soon. At least that's what he says. So what I'm trying to say here is, if Helios, right? If Helios is saying this, right? If Helios is saying, like, hey, you know what, guys? They filed this trademark, and I'm pretty sure Gen 5 remakes are still in progress. I think we can pretty much assume that there's a chance that a lot of stuff could still be happening, okay? There's a lot of stuff that could still be happening, so I'm just going to leave it at that. It's a very interesting topic, and I think it's worthwhile to cover at some point. And just go through all of it. But yeah, it's an interesting one nonetheless. Moving on, though, we have another bit of a theory from someone else, which is, of course, Soul Silver Art. It's one of our friends and somebody who, you know, knows some stuff and does a lot of theories. But basically, he says the following. Now, I didn't believe ILCA would be making the next Pokemon remakes, as I'd heard of an outsourced remake. But not ILCA, Koo also said similar things. But after yesterday, I realized that the Pokemon Company plus ILCA is a whole new thing, which is true. This isn't a game being made by ILCA. It's Pokemon Works. It's a whole new company, okay? It's a whole new company that is literally called Pokemon Works. It's not made by Ilka and just like the Pokemon Company. It's made by a company called Pokemon Works. A whole new studio, okay? It's a whole new studio. Which, yes, you can be like, well, still Ilka, sure. It's not Ilka. So this new Pokemon Works could be the outsourced team. Technically not Ilka, making the next Pokemon remake. Pokemon Works seems to be some sort of Pokemon company, like the Pokemon Company Incorporated and Ilka merger, like a joint venture, with the Pokemon Company Incorporated being more of the parent company of the subsidiary. Never in a million years that I think we'd be seeing something like this, lol. I was thinking Monolith Soft or Bandai Namco, but this is almost better because it's almost an expansion of Game Freak. It's like making a team of C, like Team C of Game Freak. Yes, exactly. So basically, if you guys don't know, Game Freak works in two teams, Team A and Team B. Team A handles all the new generation stuff, new generational things. Team B handles games like Legends, DLC, stuff like that. They're usually doing side stuff. And guess what? This could be a third team. This could be the new team, the new group. And you know what this means? This is a positive, okay? I know some of you will be like, oh, I don't want Ilka to work on anything Pokemon related. They made BDSP. Guys, this just means that Game Freak has less shit on their plate. But also, it could be the other way around. This could mean nothing for the quality of Pokemon games. Like, you could argue both ways. You can be like, this is a good thing for Pokemon, because this means that the Pokemon Company will be able to, like, spend more, the Game Freak will be able to spend more time on the games. I don't think that's the case. Game Freak has actually been showing, been talking a lot about wanting to kind of do other stuff than just Pokemon. They want to work on other projects. And because of that, it would make total sense that they would maybe don't want to work on side Pokemon games like remakes or DLC and stuff, and they instead want to work on just new generations, because that's still their thing. And if they give that away, they lose a part of Game Freak, right? They lose a part of the company and also a lot of money as well on the table. I mean, they own the Pokemon brand to like 33%, but they would still lose a lot of the like value from it that way. So the way I see it is probably something like along the lines like this. They probably needed another studio to handle some of the shit that they don't want to work on, so they can work on non-Pokemon stuff, like Pand World, which is a game that they're working on, and like an action RPG adventure game, which they're also working on. Like, again, there's a lot of stuff that Game Freak wants to work on that is not Pokemon related, but they can't because they have the obligation of making Pokemon games pretty much yearly, and one of those games is always a remake or a DLC or something like that. So now they don't have to do that. It's given to a whole new studio called Pokemon Works, which is a studio with experienced people making Pokemon games. What do I mean by experienced? Well, you have people from the actual Pokemon Company, and you have people from Ilka who've actually made a remake. They've actually made a Pokemon game that sold 15.6 million copies and probably will be making more games now. So that's pretty much where we're at with this. And he says, if this ends up being true and connecting back to old, I'm going to lose it. And this is a post that, he made a while back when it was in regards to, the website being registered. He says, when would be a perfect time to announce the new Pokemon Works company joint venture thing? In May 2024, maybe alongside an announcement of a black and white remake made by an outsourced team. Also, isn't the investors and business conference of the Pokemon Company usually held in May? Yes, it is. Because guess what? Guess what, guys? I actually live streamed the reveal. And I don't know if I still have that video up or that actual reaction up, but Pokemon Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu reveal, that actually was really weird because the reveal of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee didn't actually happen. It didn't happen through a Pokemon Presents. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was revealed during a press conference, okay? A literal press conference. So let's see. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Pikachu press conference. If we can actually find the time that happened, because they didn't even reveal it during a regular thing. It was super weird. It was a video game press conference. That's literally how they did it. So let's see if I can actually find this for you guys and show it to you. But it is kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. So here is how they actually revealed Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, okay? So this is how they revealed it. They literally had Ishihara on the stage. It was a bunch of people, okay? Just a bunch of people in the audience, just chilling and doing their thing. And this is like an old one, right? By the way, this wasn't even on YouTube, by the way. I need to tell you guys, this wasn't streamed on YouTube. This was streamed on Twitter, okay? This wasn't even on YouTube. This was posted afterwards. This wasn't a live stream thing. This was an upload that came afterwards, which is super bizarre. But basically, this press conference had them talking about stuff. And you guys want to know what they announced during this press conference? They announced that they were working on a Switch Pokemon game, and also that they wanted to connect Pokemon Go between the two, because this was, again, 2018. So this is 2 years after Pokemon Go's massive hype. But guess what they also did during this? They revealed Pokemon Sleep, right? Pokemon Quest came out, so they announced Pokemon Quest, a new game, right? We already talked about this. And it's so funny to see Shigeru on the screen. But basically, they announced Pokemon Quest, and also then they revealed their big, like, project, which was going to be Pokemon, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. That's when they showed the trailer, and they had the trailer play, and we could watch it, and it's like, our reaction was crazy. Again, this is when they showed it off, right? Like, this is when they showed it off, and they talked about the Pokemon Go connection, the characters, the gameplay, how it was going to work. Again, it was a really weird reveal. It wasn't like a Pokemon Presents. It wasn't something we're used to. And then also, at the end, they revealed Pokemon Sleep, I think. I could be wrong about that, but I think Pokemon Sleep was also revealed here, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, though, but I'm not sure. But yeah, either way, my point is that the reveal of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was through a press conference like this. Would it be that crazy for them to do a press conference again to reveal Black and White remakes? Like, seriously, think about this. This was such a weird reveal in 2018. Everybody expected a Pokemon Presents. Oh, sorry, at the time it was like a Nintendo Pokemon Direct. That's what they used to be called, right? Pokemon Direct. But people expected a Pokemon Direct. People expected to see like basically what we got with Legends, a game set in the past. People expect to see a Kanto set in the past. That's what I theorized a lot like crazy back then. It's so funny that theory of mine actually ended up being reality later down the line, because thanks to like people like Piyuk, who basically made us all think that that's what was going to be happening. But like, essentially we got that with Legends Arceus. However, what I'm trying to say is this, right? The possibility of us actually getting a Pokemon announcement, right? Like some form of announcement, some form of anything, okay? Based off of the fact that they've already done it before, is not that crazy. Look at this. This was May, 5 years ago, May 30th, guys. This wasn't like this was such a weird random thing. So what stops them from doing something similar again? Because guess what? This was in May. When would it make sense? Like he said here himself, right? May 2024, alongside an announcement of Black and White remakes. And why not? It's the Investors and Business Conference of the Pokemon Company, and it's usually held in May. So they could just do the same thing again. They just live stream this, they reveal all of this, they put out the trailers, they show off and tell us, hey, here is gameplay of our upcoming projects, right? Plus, we want to announce to our investors that we have another game coming out this year, which means keep investing in us, because we're going to be working on even more shit. Like, they need to like let the investors know what they're doing, because the investors can only know so much. Like, investors only get information, as far as I'm aware. Again, you guys can tell me better if you know more about this kind of stuff. But as far as I'm aware, with investors, they only get information at like the same speed that we get information, right? If you're an investor in like the Pokemon Company or whatever, you're not really going to learn anything about what they're doing in the background until they officially reveal it. Like, as an investor, you don't have background information. You see it the same time everybody else sees it. So if you're an investor right now and you look at Pokemon and you know they have Legends ZA in the pipeline, and you're like, okay, cool, they're putting out a new game, but it's in 2025. I don't know if I want to invest like further funds into the company this year, or maybe I'm going to just, I'm going to pull out some money because, like so far, the value's going down. The stock is going down. It's not worth it. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at it from that perspective, a new game this year being announced is a massive thing for investors. That means guaranteed profit, right? Guaranteed that the value is going to go up, that they're going to make back money on their investment. If there is no new game this year, it's a higher chance that they're going to lose money. It's a higher chance they're not going to make money. So it's a good thing to do an investors meeting for the investors to know, hey, keep giving us cash. We start a whole new studio. New people, new workers, more employees inside of another office. We need more cash to make more shit so you can make more money back. So what I'm trying to say is highly possible. They've done it before. That's pretty much where I'm going to leave that at. It just makes sense, okay? It just makes sense, okay? It just makes sense. So that's pretty much that, though. However, there's, of course, other stuff to always talk about, like theories and stuff, and there's a lot of theories that, like, you guys have sent in, viewers have sent in, and stuff like that. So we will take a look at that in future videos. But, yeah, guys, that's going to be pretty much it for that part. So, yeah, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. And let's move on to another post that was made by Mordekaiser. Now, Mordekaiser is a really cool theory creator, or like a theorizer, and he basically put out this thing. I find it very interesting that the Pokemon companies, Pokemon X and Y, this scientist working on the Poke Radar in Sycamore's lab has a very familiar blueprint on his computer. And you guys can see right here, the blueprint on his computer looks oddly similar to kind of the blueprints we see right here, which is very intriguing because this is set in present time, so to say. This actual, this game, X and Y, is set in our current time frame, right? So like 2014, 2015, whatever you want to say. Is when it's set. And he says today's research target is Spoink. But then if you see what it's on the screen here, it's these exact same kind of like, these digital grids, exact same kind of digital grid. It's kind of nuts. And then he says here, you know, like he also played like a little bit more of the game. He says, playing X and Y and looking for anything that stands out in Lumio's and Sycamore's lab. Intriguing words from one of the scientists here, saying fighting completely in sync with my Pokemon gives me chills. And it's literally here is her saying this, right? Oh, fighting completely in sync with my favorite Pokemon gives me chills. And guess what, guys? In the actual map that we see during the trailer, we actually see a logo that looks oddly similar to the Synchro machine. The girl literally says, sync with her favorite Pokemon. The Synchro machine. Synchro machine. I will say it again, and I'm just going to say it now. I think the Synchro machine is going to come back, and I think it's going to be explored even further. The version we saw it in the game of Indigo Disc, right, in the actual DLC, the version we saw there was only a version where you can just turn into a Pokemon and fly around with it, right, or not even turn into a Pokemon, but sync up with your Pokemon and then fly around and attack other Pokemon. I think in this version, I think in Legends ZA, we're actually going to be able to control the Pokemon and more or less be the Pokemon. Like, we're going to be able to do our attacks as the Pokemon, making it not maybe an action RPG, but a little bit in that direction is what I'm feeling. At least that's where my thoughts are. And I'd love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on that. Let me know in the comment section down below. But I'm intrigued to see where this is going to go. And that's pretty much where we're going to be end up this video, guys. So thank you all for watching. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.